Myanmar is at a critical moment in its development. The economic and political decisions of today will have serious implications for the development path the country will be taking. The world is notice of the crisis affecting Myanmar's Rohingya population, mostly a Muslim minority who have lived in the country for hundreds of years. With escalating attacks on Rohingya villages in the states of Rakhine by Myanmar security forces and Buddhist civilians, an estimated 35,000 Muslim refugees per day have fled mostly to neighbouring Bangladesh. Since the late 1970s, discriminatory policies of Myanmar's government have forced hundreds of thousands of Muslim Rohingya to flee their homes in the dominant Buddhist country. Location of Rohingya. The legal status of the Rohingya. The Rohingya are stateless as the government refuses to grant their citizenship, resulting in the big majority of the group's members have no legal documentation. In 2014, Myanmar government granted them the permission to identify themselves as Rohingya after a UN-backed national census was held, but the ban held when Buddhist nationalists threatened to boycott the movement. The government decided that the Rohingya could only register if they were declared as Bengali. Why are the Rohingya fleeing from Myanmar? The Myanmar government has effectively incorporated discrimination against the ethnic group through restriction on marriage, family planning, employment, education, religious choice, and freedom of movement. What's caused the recent exodus? Militant group known as the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army (ARSA) claimed responsibility for attacks on police and army posts, destroyed hundreds of Rohingya villages, and forced nearly 700,000 Rohingya to leave Myanmar. At least 6,700 Rohingya were killed in the first months of attacks between August 25 and September 25. The imagery shows many areas where Rohingya villages were reduced to smoldering rubble, while nearby ethnic Rakhine villages were left intact. Economic viewpoint for Myanmar. For Myanmar's civilian government, economic reforms are a key to complete the country's democratic transition after 60 years of isolation under the military dictatorship. In June 2017, China was Myanmar's largest foreign investor, pumping in investment in Myanmar followed by Singapore, Thailand, and Hong Kong. Most of these investments are in the manufacturing, oil and gas, and telecommunication sectors. The European Union considering transaction for Myanmar in a toughening of EU policy on human rights in Southeast Asia, after months of pressure from right group and the European Parliament. An EU official also said that removing Myanmar duty-free access is a measure of last resort, but that action must be taken if other measures are not effective in curbing the violence. The EU has the option to exempt certain sectors, such as textile or gemstone, from preferential trade access compared to a complete removal of special trade access, which would severely dampen economic development and drive Myanmar firmly into China's sphere of influence. Affected Myanmar's economy, employment, daily wage, tourism. EU alleged transactions on Myanmar will endanger hundreds of thousands of jobs, mostly held by young women in the one of Asia's poorest economies, while leaving the country's military leaders unharmed. Garment export accounted for 72% of Myanmar's $1.8 billion in shipments to the EU in 2017, making the EU one of the few markets with which Myanmar enjoys a trade surplus. Contributing factors of the drop in factory openings aside from the alleged transaction of EU on Myanmar due to Rohingya crisis is the minimum wage, which was raised by 33%. Tourism in 2017 was definitely impacted in the overall market, particularly with regard to visitors from Europe. The cycle will affect Myanmar in the long term, especially because tourism is one of their fastest growing industries that generate income. This diagram that the numbers of visitors decreased in 2017. This is because of the Myanmar Rakhine State Rohingya exodus issue. Parties' involvement and intervention. First, countries' government such as United States, Canada, and Australia. Second, intergovernmental organizations (IGO) such as European Union, ASEAN, and United Nations. Third, non-governmental organization (NGO). Affected countries. These are the effects and implications that happen to Bangladesh as they are the neighbor of the Myanmar. Every atrocities movement and activities that Myanmar done to the Rohingya people are directly affected Bangladesh. Underlying problems. Australia aid program have forwarded help to Myanmar in the Rakhine state and received good results, but some dispute on saying that the aid program is actually not helping the Rohingya people that are victims of the ethnic cleansing. ASEAN actually received a high pressure by international public and government on playing some role to please or force Myanmar to end the ethnic cleansing or genocide in Rohingya. This is the statement for the Rohingya people where the Myanmar government and military denied their access on living in Myanmar because they are illegal Bengali that immigrate to Myanmar. India Prime Minister praised the leaders of the state for countering the violence and offered India-led development initiative and project in Rakhine province instead of mentioning the atrocity happened to Rohingya Muslims. China, they have been supporting Aung San Suu Kyi government in facing the widespread international condemnation in the past for protection for human rights violation, where the government also give an advice to Malaysia on not forcing the Myanmar to end it and not to interfere the domestic affair happen in Rohingya. The pros and cons.
The media play a great medium on increasing the attention of the issue to the world. Myanmar economy GDP will increase because of the fund and help received from other government or countries.
ASEAN state members other than Myanmar could give force towards Myanmar on stopping the ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya people. Sanctions of economy on the responsible entities regarding the ethnic cleansing of Rohingya people are done where it could directly cut off the abilities on buying the armaments and freeze their assets. The attention received by Myanmar from the whole world is not a good impression since the issues brought up is related to genocide and ethnic cleansing. The help by the state members are limited and thus not open to the other countries. The sanctions are only done by several countries such as US and Canada, but it was not done by majority of the countries in the whole world. Conclusion: ethnic cleansing issue or the genocide solution are easily said rather than the action that needed to be taken. Countries that are helping the Rohingya people said that dealing with Myanmar by using war is not going to solve the Rohingya issues, but the sanctions that were actually done by US, Canada, EU, Australia, and others are actually forces to push Myanmar government and military to end the Rohingya issues because it affecting the country economy and the responsible individual that causing the ethnic cleansing. To conclude that hopefully this issue will be ending sooner just to make sure the people who are violated could receive the justice on every kind of atrocities they receive in this issue and the whole world government and public could take part in forcing the issue to end.